Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. I'm most pleased to announce that it's finally time to create another reading for you. This time, I thought about a bit diversifying the content I create, and I was delving into some meditation stuff and came up with the following. Exposing the conversations in which your name was mentioned. What does that mean? To put it plainly, that means we have a situation or multiple ones that your name has been mentioned, you were referred to, or you have been discussed. And exposing carries an element of secrecy, or as if you don't have to know it. You don't have to, under no circumstance should you be aware of the fact or of the information that will be drop shipped in here in the reading. So I think this is going to be very fun. If anything, this should bring more awareness in the situation, your surroundings, people, and overall energy that you are being closely linked to or not. Who knows? We'll see. And I think this is also very useful uh, because it really helps us take advantage of the information given so that we don't get ourselves in sticky situations, or we know what to expect or what to be prepared for. And for some, it could be also a confirmation of sorts in regards to their intuition. So I think that's all for the introduction section. Thank you so much for all of the comments that you have dropped. This is like the most fun thing to read. Like it's just amazing. Like you don't know what you'll get each time. I'm overwhelmed with support, and for those of you who donated also, I'm very grateful for your donations. You are the cornerstones, like all of you, for the mission and for um, everything good that comes out of this channel, because if it wasn't for your support, I don't think this channel would be able to prosper, and I don't think I would be able to even like um, I don't know, like expand myself in creative ways and passionate ways to basically help people around me. So yeah, you just like your support, even like the small stuff, likes, subscriptions, I'm sorry, are really contributing to the overall well-being of the channel and therefore me. So thank you so much for showing the support. I know all of your requests. I'm a little bit overwhelmed with work right now. Unfortunately, I cannot address every single one of them. I have screenshots of every comment, so there will be fortunately a time when I'll start creating specific content on that note. But for now, I can only stick to the regular schedule. I'm really sorry, those of you who are going to be disappointed with that comment, but it's the best I can do right now, provide top quality with the schedule I'm provided. Um, I'm working also on expanding on the section with personal readings, so perhaps I'll get there with a subject, who knows? But for now, I can only stick with a basic schedule. It's the most authentic message comment I can give for now. I don't want to keep you in the shadow or in the dark relative to this. You, however, like react or take this as you see fit. I completely understand the frustration for a reader to not take immediate notice of the request, but I'm doing the best I can for now, and my love is being expressed in the quality of the readings I create for now. So if you have patience with me, if you stick um, to the mission of the channel, and if you want to be here, be part of the community and the family, then yeah, you can you can be here, you can wait. but that's it for now. Okay, so now that's settled, and let's begin the reading. So the overall selection is going to be 3 piles as usual. I don't extend on 4 because my energy tends to get scattered and I like to keep things put and concentrated. We have the first pile with a ring of a crystal cluster. Second pile has a long malachite ring, and third pile has this multiple colors. I don't know, it reminds me of labradorite for some reason, but it's not. It's just like a very unique ring with blue slash green hues to it. Okay. These are the rings. Let's begin the reading, starting with pile number 1. Okay, let's begin with pile number 1, exposing the conversations, mentioning your name. And the first card you get is the Pathless in reverse. So Pathless has written on it difficult decision and lack of direction. Now, pile number 1 has managed to have or nurture a sort of a trait that makes them very, let's say, different from the usual traditional, let's say, way of doing thinking or aiming for stuff or for milestones, whatever. There is like the nature of the conversations mentioning your name are, let's say, infused with a degree of envy and unknown, and also like the Pathless makes me think it's as if this pile has been in the past compared a lot to standards, and you were thought of as a person who this is not gonna be objective, but behind for some reason. I feel like we're dealing with the lingering energy of the Pathless, meaning that this could go into the black sheep of the family, black sheep in general, or you could have been ostracized. This pile will resonate with that kind of experience from the past. The conversations mentioning your name involve a sort of determination or something that has sculpted you in such a way that now you're different and your success stands and speaks for itself. Also, what seems to be going through, it's quite a lot of information though, but I'm trying to focus on the most important. There is a quality to this pile of being unwavering and unstoppable. When I say unstoppable in this context, it means that there is no pulling back, there is no holding back, it's as if people feel like there is no possibility of stopping you. There is determination. There is a lot of discussion in this context of trying to place a sort of a stop or a sort of a limitation with pile number 1. It's as if this would be work related, people would be trying to steer you away from your own way of dealing with things, from your own opinion, and to steer you away. It's like to annoyingly impose expectation. Okay, if this is society, this is like, I feel someone like with this golden hand, someone reaching out for their true self by nature of creating the contrast of what I'm not, like from the experience of people around me. So it's like, if a practical example of this would be someone talks about you in a way that they don't agree with you. So it's like, they didn't do that, they didn't do what I told them to do, like a lot of bossing around. This pile has a lot of bossing around, also from people who are seemingly having no right to do that, which is kind of strange. There is a lot of projection on pile number 1. The discussions mentioning your name are very, very strangely limiting because they involve presumptions of failure because they do not have the greater picture. Can't believe I'm going in such depths. But I feel like this pile has a logic of risk and a very sound logic of risk progression that makes them, from another standpoint, from the standpoint of limitation, fear, and projection coming from people, sound or seem or look like you are going to fail. It's almost as if, for example, let's say a skilled businessman would be they would have so much experience in that direction that they would know how to place a bet or a risk. And they kind of know what they are aiming for, and they know from experience that they are going to succeed, or the rate of succeeding this or some implication from this action are going to be providing them with some sort of long-term success. Now, in this context, people believe that your risk is not logical, your risk is not reasonable, where in your standpoint, you see, you understand, you get it, you get why it's working and it will be working. Like, this pile is very, very, very defined. As it's like psychologically, unfortunately, I could feel a lot of loneliness coming through from this pile. And also lack of mirroring or recognition. I wouldn't be surprised if this pile receives, like, all the I'm being seen or understood is going to be, like, feeling is going to be received via the means of this reading. I wouldn't be surprised if you'd find such, like, mirroring any place else. This is regardless of my ability. And if it doesn't resonate, maybe this is not your pile. But I see this pile reaching out through the rubble of circumstances, people, limitations, beliefs, and long-term, you can't make it. You can't do it, you won't make it, you won't do it. I feel like whatever milestone, and you should have something very defined. Let's be honest here. And this is channeling 7 minutes from one card only, and I have a number of decks in here. Like, how many hours? Okay, it's as if you have something very defined you want to create. There was a sort of delay. Okay, so it's like I'm sorry, pile number 1. I'm so excited. Like, keep in mind, you do have something conscious or unconscious for some of you that you are aiming for, and you're struggling to get there. Either you did struggle or you're currently struggling to get there because that delay my God, is created by the people, by their opinions, by the circumstances. I feel like this pile should have achieved what they wanted from a very long time, or how to make it happen. Though the insistence from the surroundings around you are making it so as if the delay has to happen. So it's literally the case we are dealing in here with people who could have been traumatized, for example. It could relate to your situation, but you could have been having or encountering issues with confidence, and that has made you delay some results, some milestones from happening, because of that, barrier. So I've seen issues and instances where with myself, I couldn't bring myself to present something eloquently because of my confidence, because I couldn't deal with that. And it's like this pile has one or multiple ways in which they have been delayed. And this is by no fault of your own. I feel like this pile, the result or the silver lining in this whole scenario is going to make it so that your victory is going to be even more sweet. Like, it's going to be the sweetest victory when you are going to prove that every single comment directed at you was in fact a faulty projection. Okay, I see 3 golden elements into this card, and I want to say the fascinating news is the pyramid in here aims for something greater. So that means the point in which you're going to reach completion in your milestone or your purpose, there will be a catapult for more. We have 3 elements again: the hand, the eye, the pyramid. I feel like the eye pertains to the message of you knowing what you want and how you could get there, and also it pertains to the contrast, because this eye is somehow placed on another hand. So it's like, you tell me what I am not, basically. So it's like, when people doubt you, it's like, okay, so I feel like this doubt is going to be even like it's going to talk about even more of a strengthening of my desire to prove that I am not this. So it's like, if people are commenting on things, on something that they believe is not, you're not gonna make it, for example, it's like a push towards what you will be making. So it's like the confidence, like, it's as if generally this pile, the more they are faced with lack of love or the opposite of love, the more that sparks, the more that ignites the desire for you to go for it. And I know this is not easy, okay? This is not easy. This is not going to be a pile that is going to be all like not gonna be an easy experience. I don't think many of you will say that this was like an easy experience so far. This feels like a very rocky experience, okay? And I want to say that discussions mentioning your name are very shallow. Very shallow, very envious, very people dipping into their suffering, and that suffering birthing into creation the comments, birthing into creation the negative stuff, debris that's being directed at you, mentioning your name, okay? I do want to say, however, the amount of attention that pile number 1 will get by the ways in which their name is going to be said, mentioned in these discussions, are going to set them up for a lot of, let's say, fame or popularity in this case, because I feel like you attract a lot of attention. And this is not the case, like, no matter the kind of positive or negative attention this may be, I feel like you're going to be very pleased with the result of, like, the completion I was talking about. You're going to be very pleased because you'll have a lot of shattered expectations or shattered misconceptions being blasted away by reality, by the reality of the milestones or the purpose or the things, achievements you're going to create. And I feel like, for me to be more specific about the achievements, these are core stuff you wished for. So core stuff you wished for could be a partner, like, it's going to be for some. For some it could be recognition, for some it's going to be status, or some sort of, again, recognition of status. For some it's going to be as simple as, these people did not believe I could make it and I made it, and you won't be bashful or boastful about it, though the completion or the cherishing of that moment is going to be very fulfilling, okay? And you're not mad, pile number 1. I want to say, the energy this pile gives off, it's everyone doubted me. No person, there was nobody believing in me. Like, that's the energy. And this could feel also for the great majority of you like it has been going for a very long time, okay? It's almost as if the only person I could or I did rely on was unfortunately myself. But that makes it so that the reading says the victory is going to be even like sweeter because of it. I feel like you were specifically given the circumstance where you had to be made, or you have to make it all by yourself because you're being shown that you could make it and you had no help necessarily from, like, you believed in yourself and you made it happen. That's the energy I feel like it's with pile number 1. Okay, so it's 15 minutes already. I want to go ahead and take some other cards, perhaps mentioning other conversations and nuances to this one, perhaps. Let's see. Hilarious. To be honest, 10 of Cups reverse, 7 of Swords in reverse. We have in here a depiction in the 7 of Swords of a person who's sleeping with a gun on their, like, besides them, okay? So, I want to say you've had people in thoughts, and it could be also conversations, but this is more monologues, okay? Some of them already feel the precipice, and they say to themselves, it's already happening. Like pile number 1 has already, like, the wheels are in motion, something is going on. Pile number 1, they're up to something, and it seems like the fate supports them. I see in here, interestingly enough, a spark or ignition of sorts of what if they are right, you know? What if they are actually going to achieve it? However, there is a sort of precaution that's being mentioned in here with this card. You have people snooping around, you have people thinking of basically amping the game. How do you say it? Like, basically trying to be not preventing, but changing the attitude or the behavior they had towards you by the nature of their realizations. It's like all of a sudden people neutralizing all of their, like, let's say, negativity or antagonism they tried to direct at you because they see that something is rising, okay? So it's like, don't let your, like, don't get your guard down. Not, it's not necessarily that kind of message, but don't be open. Don't turn a blind eye to the people that you saw are not trustworthy, because in here we have some interesting individuals thinking to themselves like maybe they should change the attitude, and all of the sudden, given the change of the atmosphere and circumstances, be your friend, ally, and even get close to you. Conversations mentioning your name are still, I want to say, with the 10 of Cups in reverse, you don't have to care about this though. It's like still undermining. Like, you have in here some people undermining you or wanting to not believing in you. This is the case with 10 of Cups. Also, I want to say conversations, and I want to say it all with like a trigger warning. This is not the truth. This is not the authentic reflection. But with the 10 of Cups in reverse, it's like almost a ridicule of some sort of ideas or some sort of desires you had or you wished for. Okay, conversations mentioning your name. Yeah, you have some antagonism in here for sure with the 8 of Pentacles. Though I want to say there is an element of pushing down, undermining you, specifically with the intent of it being so because they've seen potential, okay? I feel like we're dealing in here with a metaphor of, let's say you go to an art school, for example, or you do something creatively and you're being surrounded by people who do the same thing. And with the 8 of Pentacles, you have managed to show something that's very distinct, something that's very, very original, and all of a sudden they feel the urge to humble you. Pile number one is going to be faced, or it's not going to be faced, like that's the energy I feel like maybe it was from the past and it's still lingering. Criticism and trying to create an atmosphere of doubt in yourself, okay? But I want you to be powerfully aware of the fact that this happens when people get intimidated. This happens when people see that you have something that makes it so that they feel shadowed or overshadowed, or they feel like their success is being threatened. Okay? I feel like this pile also could have some qualities or ways in which they could be considered a genius or a mastermind, okay, in their area of work, or it doesn't necessarily have to be like. And we have High Priestess, that's my favorite card. My god, discussions mentioning your name involve a lot of speculation, secrecy, mystery, unknown, unexpected. We don't know what to expect from pile number one. We don't know for sure what they are going to achieve. That's fascinating. To be honest, pile number one, I feel like, especially because the High Priestess covers the Seven of Swords, it's almost a feeling like no matter what pile number one, like that's the discussions or monologues people had, no matter what, even if they're going to be caught off guard, still somehow they got favor. Okay? No matter how hard people try, like this is not kidding, this is hilarious, okay? No matter how much people doubt and try to undermine you, it's almost as if there seems to be the case you're coming untouched every single time. It's all zero. It's like there is a feeling of equalization. I don't know how to explain it. It's like antagonism and everything is going back to zero. Complications or struggle, people seeing that maybe you struggled or something was holding you back, boom, one day passes, a period of time passes, and you're all zero. Like it almost like feels like it left you untouched, and if anything, with the High Priestess, it gave you strength, it gave you some sort of knowledge or experience, especially with the High Priestess, like with renewed force, like what's going on. People expected and they discussed things like, I want to say this is not fun, okay, but you've had people like some best friends, like toxic people. I don't know, it doesn't have to be your best friends, but be wary because this is very strange. Friends, two people being friends and them discussing your name and talking about the fact that they expected you to be crushed, okay? They expected you to be crushed, to be on ground zero, and not gonna lie, this is like ridicule in here that's coming through, and you made it happen. Like you shined still at the end of the day, and you came through as like untouched. And this is not even the case where you proved you tried to be something that you were not. The High Priestess is a very neutral, wise, and solitary stoic card in this context, okay? It's like this pile doesn't give explanations. This pile doesn't give about anything but their progression, and this is very threatening, okay? Next, discussions mentioning your name. The Emperor. It's basically a man, okay, also mentioning your name. But this is not only a man, this could be for some of you a father. It won't be for everyone. And this is also a boss, okay? This is a sort of, I don't know how you say it, but at the end of the day, when you give like a report of sorts with like your name attached, like it's almost as if a male figure of authority discussed your name in like a meeting. This is not going to be like very wow as a message because this happens, but this is discussions with a group of people mentioning your name. Some sort of an individual. Okay, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Five of Cups. I wanna say you are very, very, very highly valued. Okay? Highly valued. Because the clarification for the Emperor was the Five of Chalices. This is a desire to create, like, how authentic this is going to be as a plan, I don't know. This is not coming through from a very, let's say, yeah, it's coming through from a desperate standpoint, but people don't want to miss you. Like, this person talked about the ways in which they don't want to miss you, they don't want to lose you. If this is work related, this is talking about an addition to the team. This is also a secret that they don't want to make you go away. Okay? Yeah. Oh my god. The moon in reverse. Um, some sort of thing that you bring to the table. It's irreplaceable. And the panic of you going away. This is work related, that makes sense. If this is not work related, I don't know how you can make it fit, but to be honest, it's, if I were to strip away the context, it's going to be talking about someone highly desiring to manipulate and play with circumstances in such a way that you stay, or the contribution that you give is going to be there. Like, there is, like, we don't have to make them go. We don't have to make them go. We have to chase. We have to make it so that we prevent anything from happening, because something you have introduced as value, now take it how it resonates for your situation, my god, but something you introduced or you are introducing by nature of being present there, it's irreplaceable. Okay? Why this pile has, I'm sorry, why this pile has a lot of chasing figures after them. And this is vampirism as well, but I feel like this pile has the ability to convert that in their favor, okay? You don't know it, like, you have no idea how valuable, like, I don't know, okay? Um, yeah, this is going to go into a place where this is not going to be talking about authentic. We value you as a person. Unfortunately, this is not a message. This is something you give as quality, okay? This is pristine quality. This is that kind of quality where you bring something to the table of a contribution that is irreplaceable, okay? So when that happens, it's like we have like a very talented person. When they show up, they bring something that cannot be, let's say, it's very rare, okay? So I've seen this only with artistic value. This is also like what I've seen, but there are countless examples on this in this regard. But it's like, give us more, okay? It's like, yeah, you are very respected, okay? The conversations mentioning your name could also be related to the fact that you're highly thought of, okay? So it's like your contribution was like, and also conversations saying like, imagine them being like this right now, and in the future, like what can it, like what we can expect from them, like very, very, very highly valued, highly thought of. But I want to also say this is very secret information, perhaps because they don't want you to stick your nose too high up. So that's, it's ridiculous, to be honest. Like, why can't you just treasure people? But it's like, yeah, with mage and reverse, manipulative. So conversations mentioning your name, it's pertaining to the skill or to the contribution that you give to the team. So this is very interesting. I'm a bit disgusted by the fact that, to be honest, this pile will not see that recognition up front. To be honest, this pile is going to be a bit overlooked officially. I see coldness, I see a lot of, let's just say it how it is, being left in the dark. But my god, what can I give you as how you'll understand that this is about you and this is talking about your situation, and how you don't have to doubt it, and how you'll recognize that this is going to be talking about your value. You're going to be given a lot. You're going to be given a lot of access. You're going to be given a lot of questions. You're going to be contacted a lot. It's almost as if you're going to ask, like, what does this person need from me? Why are they not leaving me alone? Or you're going to be given all of like the access or a lot of material, and this is going to be like a testimony of sorts, like, do your job or continue on doing what you did. That's the kind of message. Oh my god. Discussions about you, exposing them, is like the discussions that were very like short, brief, and said make them do that more. Okay. So yeah, it's a bit disgusting because I don't see people placing value in you as a person and exploiting. But like, Seven of Swords says with a gun there, you got it. Like, the defense is there, you don't have to be afraid. Okay, so it's like, you don't have, I feel like you could outmaneuver the situation or spin it off as something positive. Okay, no matter, like, I want to say also, they're no match. Okay, and I'm not like giving you a pep talk or not sugarcoating, but the smallness of that energy that's coming from the Emperor and the whole scheme, it's so skinny, like, oh my god, it's desperate. It's so lacking substance, like, it's hilarious. You don't know how desperate these people are. Okay, you just, I don't know, it's like there is nothing to be, you're not afraid of anything, but like, just saying, there is nothing to be afraid of. Okay, for that amount of individualization in this file, and for that amount of character and just quality, just core base quality, it's, yeah, just step there and live your truth, and just see everything that crumbles as a result of you just giving a doubt to it, like giving a doubt that maybe, like, if that's the way things are going, I don't know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here with you. So it's like the sheer amount of shock or fear or panic that can be struck as a result of you showing that you're displeased. Okay, so it's like, yeah, um I want to also say you've got like roots, and yeah, it's like you've placed foundations, or there is much to depend on by nature of you being present in people's lives. So it's like attachments, people got attachments to you. This is work related, this is attachments as relationships. People got attached to you, people look up to you, people being connected to you. Like, I feel like if we were to hypothetically talk about the disappearance of pile number one, this would create a lot of chaos, havoc. You know, it's literally the image of a tree that, if I were to make that tree not have roots. So that's the feeling. So it's like when you strip a building of its foundations, it's shaky. It's there. The building is still standing. I don't know how it's going to stand, but it's shaky. The first wind, the first storm is going to take it down. So it's like this pile has a core aspect of being there, being a foundation of sorts. yeah, in people's lives, whether you realize this or not, in various forms. And I want to say, if it's going to talk about work, or if not, maybe it's performance related. If this is going to talk about relationships, this is attachment related. If this is going to be talking about an audience or something that you provide, it's the quality of that thing that cannot be replaced. So it's literally the message is being scattered and split in so many ways, but all these splits revolve around the fact that you occupy a space that uh, on that space depends like a lot. Okay, so your presence, things working out or things going in a smooth way, there is lots that depend on you. So it's like, you should understand the magnitude I'm talking about. And yeah, it's like literally no easy task. I want to say there is no easy, and the experience you had to undergo is also no easy thing. So we have that. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was all, pile number one. That was a very deep dive. But I really aimed for it, to be honest. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment below that you're pile number one, and if you enjoyed the reading, subscribe. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. And donations are not expected but always appreciated. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. Take care. Okay, and we are moving to lovely pile number two. Those of you who chose the actual malachite ring, it's a longer one. I have trouble placing it down because it falls over always. It's quite the stubborn ring, to be honest, so this pile could be a bit stubborn as well. Doesn't have to be, by the way, don't go away. Oh my god. Yeah, that's whoa. I felt though that, oh my god, I'm stumbling. I felt though for this pile that the next one, like pile number two precisely, is going to be very, very shocking. So, being that the title is exposing conversations mentioning your name, you have the champion, achievement, downfall. Now, the conversations held were about, again, achievements, but they were about praise. I feel like this pile has a great capacity to be acknowledged and appreciated for their virtues. Okay, so this pile feels like it's a little bit public, so it's like you must have friends either internationally, or you must have a lot of people who know you and they have very good opinions of you, I want to say. And the champion is almost like, not almost, it's literally the case where people look up to you in the ways that they recognize your brilliance. The conversations mentioning your name are very positive, pile number two, and you do have some people, like I want to say it doesn't have the energy from pile number one necessarily in that way of like envy, but I do have in here competition. So it's a dose of, yeah, we want to measure our success to pile number two. This is not envy necessarily, because I see in this case people measuring up to your success and trying to make something happen, but this is not like projecting that energy upon you with a negative in a negative sense. Let's be very clear about this. Given also that this is the champion and achievement card, this is going to be talking about some recent past situation thing, some recent success that was achieved or was made possible by the result of you being there. Okay, so again, this pile, interestingly enough, has a lingering energy similar to pile number one of being irreplaceable, or, not gonna lie, this pile has a great majority of like energy of being public or being seen out there. Okay, so it's very interesting. Like, almost as if this pile has recognition. Okay, so I don't know what you're doing. Mention in the comments that you're pile number 2, but I want to say in here, these two hands remind me of a person being crowned, but in this case, it's a person being given a sword. So the discussion held in and mentioning your name, we're talking about maybe the responsibilities or maybe the advice or maybe something that people want to give to you for you to make it happen, because it seems like in this case you are more skilled than they are. And I feel like in here people are seeking counsel with pile number 2. Okay, also this pile, you're being discussed and talked about that you are very abundant, fruitful, and that you are high, like people have high expectations, or they are confident that you're going to make it, whatever it is that their request is. I feel like, professionally speaking, like I'm referring to the message of people wanting to hand you a task, give you a reward, but being very pleased with the result of affairs, uh, because they gave you, because they have confidence, because they trust you. Okay, so yeah, it's only like I want to say there is a small portion in here because we have in here downfall, people from the shadows. I want to say you are very radiant, pile number 2. So you're very radiant in your energy. You're easily liked, like you're likable. Okay, very easily liked, very positively received. But you do have some people who have reservations and who are very skeptical. I want to say it's not a case that you are like, if it wasn't for their like maybe skepticism, you'd be universally liked. But you have some people with skepticism and you have to win them over a greater period of time. Like you have to win them over, but you can do that, but they require more. So it's like people who have trust issues, you won't be able to convince them that you are someone, like you don't have to prove anything to anyone. But yeah, given that this is discussions mentioning your name and exposing them, this is no secret that your name carries a good connotation and a positive one at that, provided that we have the champion. Also, it's like talking about a very good reputation or like a very worthy teammate with this champion, because it's very strange, because usually with this combination of energy, I would say people are a little bit hesitant to give, let's say, a lead to someone, because you know how people are, they tend to be more like, I want to be the lead, I want to take the lead or whatever. In this case, it's almost like people voluntarily give up their lead, give up their own guidance, because they want to see what you're made of, because they trust you, because they want to see your display of power. So this is very interesting. I don't know why this card gives me the energy of someone who's challenged for like a sport competition, for example, or someone in a situation where they have to prove something, but it's like a competition again. It's not like, you're proving something to anyone, but like, let's see what you're made of. It's that kind of energy. And with a champion, we're expecting high things of you, but we're not expecting it unfairly. It's because we believe that you can make it happen. So this is a very promising like energy. I want to say it's like, this is a very promising pile, and also like referring you to others, like recommendation in here is the case. A very well spoken pile number 2. I don't know, like maybe you are in some sort of business or something that requires you to be exposed, or maybe you are someone who is maybe counseling people or giving them some sort of help, advice, or you're giving a service. It could be the case that your service is being very highly appreciated, and if you're not making money out of it, I don't know what you're doing. But um my god, it's literally the case of a professional. So it's, I don't know, it's very powerful. Like it's the word of mouth, it's circulating very, 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 very fast, and I cannot turn my tongue to start speaking about something negative. Okay, but I'm honest with the messages that come up front, so it's you've got yourself a lot of like, I don't know, maybe the spell does have like a literal fan base of sorts. Maybe you're doing something that makes you be exposed, but something like conversations, and I want to say there are brief conversations in great number, but they are all positive. So it's like, again, word of mouth is circulating really well with pile number two. So not saying that if you like, if we haven't here people watching from pile number one, there is no favoritism with piles. I want to be very clear. I'm just reading the facts that are being provided by the cards. But in this case, we have openness. We have a lot of exposure. We do have a lot of coverage and people mentioning or seeing you. Okay, so discussions mentioning your name were all about what you started making or you started pushing forward, and is being met with a lot of praise. Okay, I don't know what you're doing, so it could be something of a very interesting subject if we were to touch upon it in the comment section, but it's like up to you. Don't have to mention it, but I want to say congratulations. It's a lot of very good stuff. Like if you were dreaming of having a situation where you'd be recognized for your efforts, my God, this is the case. So this is the case. Like recognizing your brilliance, recognizing your skill. And not only that, I want to say this is not only core-based skill. This is more of a personal implication, participation that involves pile number two. So it's like, if we were to talk about the champion metaphorically, it's not a way in which they swing that sword, it's the character with which they swing that sword. So it's not about the whole in and of itself cold process, it's the character that you bring to the table. So it's like, and people want more of it. I want to say it's very interesting. So it's very, very like promising with the champion. High regard, popularity, positive energy. I hope I don't destroy it though, because I do have the tendency to go into the shadows. But yeah, conversations, like specifically, this will also pertain to the conversations touching on aspects of productivity. It could literally be analytics, where people would track your progress. Maybe that will resonate also with someone, but tracking your progress and people being very aware of your progress or about your progression generally. Okay, now let's try. And yeah, with downfall, I forgot to say, like, that was with the skeptical side of people. You do have here people who are so doubtful of you that they want to see like the shadow or the dark part. Like, pile number two is so good, but we don't know like what's their shadow side. So it's like it cannot be all that good. So like that's like their thoughts in this case. So you don't have to necessarily have like a double standard or something along the lines of this, where people would be like objectively giving you some sort of a doubt. Who knows, really? But I don't feel like necessarily this pile has a very shady or indirect, like, those people who are popular but their intention to become popular is very dirty or maybe unpure or has ulterior motives. I don't feel like this is the case with this pile, and I'm being very truthful because I don't think it's possible to maintain that amount of progress, success, and recognition with such positivity and have some ulterior motives. So I do believe this pile is being recognized for the purity and authenticity of their fruits of their labor. So I don't feel like, we are necessarily talking about their doubts or their, really, who knows? I cannot be 100% sure. You have to know the situation better, but I do not call in readings for, like, let's say, questionable characters. So if you are here, if you ended up here, that's pretty much the case with the champion being someone who is given that title, but because they deserved it, and it's not because people are undeserving, but because something about your journey led you naturally or organically to the result of being that. So also you could be, by the way, this pile will also be the case, like discussions saying like, that person is not qualified for that work, but my God, they are doing it so well. It's almost like, not even almost, like, again, they're doing it so well, they're doing it even better than a professional with a PhD, whatever, would do it. Okay, so I don't know. This is passion, this is skill, this is something you're born with for. Okay, so it's like, it's effortless also. So it's also a quality of people talking about how effortlessly successful you are. And when I say success, please take it how it resonates for you, because having a good reputation, being an honest person, and being recognized for that, and being trusted, this could be something that I could aim for as being successful. Uh, Having gratitude for work, having gratitude for touching people's hearts also qualifies as a very like successful life, well lived life. So I don't know what others, maybe others have other expectations or other definitions, and they can differ and they can be very beautiful, and others maybe not. Who knows? But the quality for this pile's success, it's making it so that people are happier. It's making it so that their experience is being enhanced. It's not as miserable. So I do believe this is a very, very lucky outcome for this pile. Whatever it is that you're doing, did, will do, that is affecting people in this quality, keep doing it, because people are very, very happy about the results. Okay, next, conversations mentioning your name. Yeah, and we have two of ones. This could talk about sponsorship. This could talk about also people interested in contacting you. Oh my God, who chose pile number two? Yeah, I literally can't believe it. Two of ones traditionally for me represents long-term vision. So discussions mentioning your name, and this is no surprise to be honest, are representing or are representative of future possibilities and cooperations. And this is also like, this is hilarious. Okay, who's talking here? Who's talking? Who's watching this? Like, monetization of sorts. It's like, I do have people in here wanting to contact you because they saw you in action and they want to hire you. Okay, so if not that, then it could be about people wanting to make you a part of their company's routine, whatever that means. I don't know, but it's like sponsorship and ideas and stuff. Pulling you in is also going to be the case. Conversations mentioning your name. Eight of Swords. Also very interesting because this pile has a quality of being free and untouched by, let's say, you know, generally speaking, when you see, like, for example, I've heard this being the case with celebrities. They are being given some sort of contract that is pretty much devaluing them, but it's giving them some sort of a huge benefit at the same time. Well, in this case, I want to say there is a desire to somehow make you depend on someone or a group of people, but it isn't the case. So I feel like this pile is somehow protected, or your ways or the logic of your progression or your success makes it so that you cannot be put in a situation with strings attached. So, or you are really good at identifying the situations and preventing them from happening. So in conversations in here, we do have some people wanting to benefit by the circumstance of placing you in some sort of like, Eight of Swords is limitation. It's I have the keys to your cage type of energy. It's trying to think or to understand how they can make you depend on them. I'm surprised we don't have the devil in here. Um, Yeah, strength. By the way, like the difference from the Eight of Swords and the Devil card in this context is going to be that people are very unskilled. Like they see you as a prize and they go for it, and they go for it in a very, let's say, not so wise way. So it's like they want to make it so that you are on their team, but they are making it so desperate, like they make it sound so desperate that it's literally not happening. So it's like it's very obvious. So it's like you could be presented with circumstances that could be very alluring, or the offer could be too good to be true, and you could be seeing through the lines. With the strength, my god, the individuality of this pile is literally unmatched. Like your individuality, it's very powerful in here. I want to say also something about you. On the market, you're being seen as a very quality or a very highly valuable person. So it's like if you are applying for something, if you have a skill of sorts and you're doubting yourself, this doesn't have to be certifications, okay? You could be someone who's so like skilled at something that people or companies would hunt you down, okay, for that skill, for that thing. So, and especially because we were talking about the conversations, like exposing the conversations, mentioning your name, it could be talking about also the aspect of you having the upper hand. I was talking about this, by the way, in some past pile, but um, something makes people being silenced. Something makes people be quiet, more reserved, or humble in your presence because they know that something about you has the upper hand in the situation. So it's literally the case where you cannot even bargain. So I don't know, conversations mentioning your name could be revolving around the aspect of people cannot bargain, or they cannot, let's say, okay, so this is very interesting. They cannot undervalue that which you bring to the table because it's very apparent that you're highly valued. Oh my god. I hope this doesn't sound weird, but um, you cannot be played down. So it's like the offer, your contribution cannot be downplayed. Okay? Um, whatever that means for you, but it's very, very interesting. Conversations mentioning your name. Oh my god, the hangman. And I have to cover this because it's too explicit. But yeah, I don't know. With this specific hangman, I'm it's very strange, like the information that's going to come through. You're not even involved, or you have no tolerance, or you have no intention of delving into drama. Like if this doesn't work, you're out. Like you're out of it. You're not giving the benefit of people just dramatizing the situations. So I want to say you have in here some people in some great disparity, very desperate people who understand that you are immovable. Okay. Yeah, it's very strange. Like the hangman in this pile is in this deck, it's very let's say specific, but mm, because it's literally showing what it says. But yeah, it's almost the conversations mentioning your name. They say like you won't budge, you won't move. There is nothing we can do. So it's like there is no bargaining, there is no compromise, there is no way we can extract a benefit. There is no way we can outsmart the deal them. Okay? Immovable. And also immovable in your success and undeniable. So also I wanna say I don't know why I'm talking about a work situation so much, but yeah, maybe it's the case. So something about your performance makes it so that people cannot doubt you. So it's literally the case or the metaphor. For example, if you've had to, for example, you applied, let's say, for a position that requires knowing like a foreign language. For example, you had to apply for a job that requires French, let's say, okay? And your experience is of someone who has people from France as friends, also has a lot of contacts. You could have even relatives there, and you could have been immersed in that culture or in their culture for a very long time, and you love like classical French old like movies, and you are obsessed with French culture. So it's like the evidence, it's very much so speaking in your favor about your proficiency. So there is no way people could question that. So now take the example with French and apply it to you. Something about your achievements being so upfront out there that it enrages people because they cannot make you doubt yourself. If this is not experience related, this is going to be talking about a very bold and unwavering confidence in your own power. So especially with a strength, it's almost as if you could be someone who's not very, let's say, skilled in the thing that you did, um, but you're so passionate about it, or you don't have the studies. So it could be the case you don't have the studies, but your experience and the feedback and the genuine word of mouth can be so convincing and so speaking by itself, but that, nothing can shake that confidence. Interestingly enough, as well, we have a repeating message from another pile. Something you provide is very valuable, okay? I don't know. You have some people in here who are genuinely like taking the benefit that you are giving, and it's just like not recognized, or they don't say anything about it. Also, I don't. It's very funny actually because people play dumb and they like silently get away with it, but the truth of the matter, it's very clear as day. It's there is no outsmarting pile number 2, 10 of cups. I want to say also in here you have other people aware of your success. You have other like third parties, fourth parties who are aware of your success, and they're talking about it. Like, it's finally the case where, legend says that pile number 2 did that and that. Or word of mouth somehow circulates, okay? So whatever the case may be, like, I'm very curious. How is it that we stumble across such energies? Like, yeah, I'm very like very surprised, and not even surprised because I'm surprised because I cannot really know what will show itself up in the reading. But for Dark Grimoire, we have some absolutely very positive messages. Next, we have the Seven of Cups discussion. Okay, yeah, that's funny. Uh, all of that which I said, and with a comment, and it comes so easily to them, and they just sit there and yeah, they just exist. No, it's not even like for granted or something that you're doing and it's like given for granted, but like they're so successful and look like they're like just laying there. Like, how do they even sleep at night? Okay, where you do have in here some interesting situation or instances where people see your potential and they are crazy driven towards productivity and success, and they would say like, with that amount of talent you should be doing this, that, and the other, and you're like, yeah. Mind your business. That's the energy I could feel like it's the case. Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Discussions mentioning your name. Interesting. What could this be about though? Yeah, you do have in here nosy energy, that's for sure. Nine of Pentacles especially, it's like you have some comments, also some interesting presumptions and plans, and also like action plans related to your situation, to you directly saying like you should be doing this, that, and the other, and like employ me, pay me, and I'll tell you what to do. Doesn't have to be, but you have, it could be relatives, by the way, like what is that? Yeah, you have people who are like, I know it, like I know for sure. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to implement that action plan, then you're guaranteed to succeed. Like that's annoying. That's very like, even I see in here a case with discussions, people just looking at your level of what you did, and them fantasizing and basically giving you unsolicited advice. Yeah, that's just what people do. But yeah, other conversations, yeah, okay, interesting. We have the Judgment in reverse. Yeah, you have some personal stuff in here, like I don't know why this came through. This is so random, but you have in here people wondering with your romantic status, people wondering like what's going on in there, like are you single or not, like are we even a match, like that kind of thing. I don't know why is this even here, okay? Yeah, it's like the question like who's going to end up with you, okay? Yeah, just as I was saying, like this is very nosy energy. This is very out there. Like you have people generally, let's say, very interested in your subject. Like when it is that your name is being mentioned, everyone is all eyes and ears. Yeah, it's just I can't. This is so hilarious. Um, but there is also an understanding or an awareness that with the Knight of Pentacles, uh, with that amount of attention, you're not going to settle for everything that's being shown in your path. So I want to say also, it's like people have to be very defined in their purpose, in their actions and directions in life for them to qualify or to see themselves besides you. Okay, so it's like, you perhaps want it, but do you really, like, can you really aim for it? Because yeah, it's, I don't know. You have Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords. It's like women discussing you also. It could be the case. If you're a male, this could be interest, romantic interest. This, if you are female, this could also be female person, people talking about like gender, talking about you, discussing you, like comparing themselves to you. This is not very like, let's say, out there, very important message, but you're definitely talked about. And we have the Emperor again. Yeah, you have all types of genders actually talking about you, and especially some individual people who are interested in making themselves known to you. But this could be in a romantic sense. This could be relationship oriented, and if not that, and if you're not looking out for it, maybe it will resonate for you in other ways. But in other ways, it could mean, I'm trying to say, people interested in having a sort of a relationship with you or a status of a relationship with you, that would involve them hanging around, hanging about in your proximity. Yeah, this would also be the case. um, yeah, people wondering like if you're single. Oh my god, I can't believe it, but it's literally the case. Okay, so I think that's all pile number 2. That was your reading. That was a very interesting mix. It's so much information, and especially when I clarify the cards, it opens up dimensions of stuff that I'm like, okay, how do I clarify that information? Because I don't even know where to start or what to say. You'd think that, a card would represent only a couple of concepts, but for me, when I channel, it's literally a card could only be like a messenger or something I start from as a core base meaning, and then I could literally go out in a countless very different ways. So in countless different ways in spheres of life. Okay. So that was all, pile number 2. If you enjoyed the reading, please like. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment if you want, of course. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Check out the old videos as well. If you consider donating, that's awesome. If not, that's completely fine. And I really hope to see you in the future readings, okay? Take care. Okay, and we are moving to pile number 3. Pile number 3 chose the ring with like a greenish type of blue hue to it. It's a very mysterious, unknown type of metal that's made of, but it's very intricate and beautiful. Let's see what's your first card. It's going to be the anchor of the reading. Oh my god. The Enchanter. Deception, trickery. Okay. I will start off from the following thing. I feel like pile number 3 is in and of itself very, very pure and very, let's say, honest, and it has a high level of integrity. However, the discussions held in your name or mentioning your name revolve around the fact that people don't believe you, or they believe that you're so masterful at it, you should be a bad person. Oh my god. I feel like this pile is very good at mirroring back energy, returning it back to the sender, if you understand what I mean. This pile is also very established in the sense of I behave exactly how you behave towards me, and if you try to basically aim something negatively like at me, I deflect it back to you. Now, people, I want to say, discussions related to you were very much so being held in high detail. You've been discussed many times. And I feel like people recognize and talk about the fact that you are very cunning and also very, very smart. This pile could also resonate with the idea of being a mastermind. The Enchanter, however, in here also interesting, it's almost as if like it's too good to be true that it's the message that's coming through. It's like people say that you shouldn't be trusted or whatever. Again, why I started off with the message of you are pure and you have a high degree of integrity, people kind of tend to project on pile number 3 things that they would normally do. So it's like, don't trust pile number 3 because they will take advantage of you. It's like literally something, for example, that they are afraid of and they would do, for example. This pile is very honest. I feel like, this is not even going to be talking about the fact that, pile number 3 wants to take advantage. No. I mean, who knows, but I don't feel called to say that thing in the reading. I also want to say, channeling this thing, it's like very interesting. Trickery and deception, it makes me feel like you are a psychological mastermind and you can turn and shift situations in your favor, where a situation, for example, would be in your detriment. You'd be able to make it like with a turnaround. Or I want to say this is a skill. This is a very good skill because I feel like in life, either you or your loved ones could have been a target to a lot of hate or to a lot of, let's say, judgment, and you had to basically apply the skill of the Enchanter, where you had to predict the next move. This reminds me of the previous video with pile number 2. It's being able to read people, being able to basically predict the situation mid-tracks and change the course. I feel like this pile has that as well, and discussions mentioning your name, people talking about you, is like them wanting to expose you to the core. And I want to say, let them go ahead, because I don't feel like they would discover something necessarily bad. I feel like this pile also has a quality of being heavily, heavily misjudged and misunderstood. Where you could be very skilled at working with people, for example, but you are very mindful of your skills. You are very aware of the fact and of the ethical matters when it comes to extracting some benefit. I want to say you could go wild on those if you were permitted, but you would be permitted only with people who showed no remorse, who showed no, let's say, regret for the actions that they did. So it's like you are waiting to be unleashed. But I want to generally say people just don't get it. Okay, so it's like with pile number one, I feel like you'll get a lot of being seen, understood, and at your core being seen for who you are. But Three of Pentacles, and this representation is very dubious. So it's like, I want to say people are very surface level in their perception, and when they see something of a trait, or they see some sort of a skill with, let's say in this case, pile number three, they immediately jump to conclusions in a very negative sense. It's okay to jump to conclusions at first, but you have to understand that you at times need to dig deeper and try to at least set the intention to understand the person. And I feel like, pile number three is so deep that people just don't get the patience to understand and to get you. I want to say you're not a bad person, but people make it seem like in their storyline, in their narrative, that you are a bad person because you are very skilled in many things and ways. Um, Again, it's very strange how the conversations being held and mentioning your name were specifically talking about the fact that you are very rare, but you are also very dangerous at the same time. So yeah, it's like Seven of Wands. Okay, so there is undoubtedly something about this pile that's being seen as fascinatingly deep and scary at the same time. Highly desirable, but also hesitant, like people being hesitant to approach. I feel like even the bravest of people, they cannot brace the depth that you have. So that means, and what do I mean specifically by it? For example, if people are just like, let's say, if they were to be interested romantically in you, they would be like, yeah, I'm interested, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna pursue you. And when they do, and they are being faced with a whole like depth of yours, like which could come off as like infinite, it could literally be infinite, but just for the quantity of like or for the comparison, but they're not ready, they back down, and this pile could feel lonely, very lonely at times, by the way. Discussions mentioning your name. Strength. Yeah, it's a lot of recognition. I want to say, with the Strength card, these are discussions mentioning your virtues also. But I want to say it's more so virtues plus strengths that would make you be powerful and very, like, let's say, defined in your strength, and a very worthy opponent, I want to say. Discussions mentioning your names. So also with the characteristics being compared of the Seven of Wands and the Strength card, it's like you are rare. The type of person that you are, people say like in the discussions that you are very rare to find. Okay. Okay, so apparently you've been discussed by a female, because we haven't here a Queen of Swords. This could be an air sign, but someone, let's say it's a discussion being held, or being, yeah, the manner of the discussion was very defined. It was very much so specific, like mentioning your name for sure, and what's the nature of this whole thing. Yeah, that's very specific indeed. Queen of Wands. These are actually two females. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, what's going on? And Page of Pentacles in reverse. Something that just came through, it's a feeling that you influence a group. And these people, like this group, was talking about the fact that you influenced the group or influenced them. Okay. Oh my god. Hanged man. And it's literally very explicit. I'd have to cover that because literally what it says is like a hanged man. Okay, like that's very interesting, by the way. I feel in here a narrative of people misjudging you and then seeing the results of your actions or seeing the ways in which you behaved in life and them changing their mind. For the better, because in here we have the hanged man in reverse. It's as if, the worst they thought of you did not happen. That's very surprising, by the way, because we do have in here this Three of Pentacles. Like, this shows a person who's maintaining a boundary with a demon in here. The representation is quite dramatic, I know, but the energies of the characters being drawn in the Dark Grimoire, they're very, let's say, harsh. And I want to say the nature of the psychology of these people who were talking about you, I feel like they were all coming from a place of doubt, skepticism, even a negative, like expecting something bad from you. And I want to say not only you proved them wrong, because something about your character was revealed to be very rare. On top of it, we have in here some very interesting energies of these people saying that, perhaps we shouldn't have been as harsh, perhaps we shouldn't have been as distant, because yeah, I feel like these people are generally very easily triggered and they see everything as a threat. This could be a group, by the way. This could be even more than 3 people in here. But the outcome, interestingly enough, with the hangman in reverse, it's as if the worst, not only it didn't happen, something about you, about your ways of thinking, of doing things, turned out to be even better than they thought. Like, what's this? Yeah, it's almost as if people did not expect to be, for you to be honest, okay? So it's like, they did not expect you to be so like powerfully grounded in your own sense of innocence, and you didn't even defend. So it's like, I would say we have in here instances where people would try to accuse you, but not only you did not react, they understood that you are not guilty of anything because your reaction was of a pure person. Discussions, oh my god. Discussions mentioning your name. Seven of Pentacles. You do have some people in here who are so interested in talking about you. I cannot even, like, the energy of this card is like, please leave me alone. So it's like, please give me a break. Like, I don't need your attention. Still it happens. Seven of Cups in reverse. Discussions mentioning your name. People are wondering, like, what's your status, what's going on, what you're doing outside of work, outside of the sessions, or whatever the situations that you are being present with them. There is a lot of lack of boasting, showing off, a lack of a reaction or of a strong reaction, and that ignites a lot of curiosity. The Lovers in reverse. Oh my god. Yeah, it's very strange. It's both attraction and also a feeling of interest, but at the same time, it's being matched by a very strong sense of hesitation and not taking the lead. Um, yeah, that's very strange, by the way, but it's what's the case in here. Yeah, we do have in here with the Six of Cups people not acknowledging or not wanting to express how much they care or how much they are like on a base core level. This pile is going to be faced with a lot of, let's say, people being seemingly indifferent. It cannot be farther from the truth, because you do have in here some stalkers, some people trying to look for you, some people trying to basically scoop up information about you while you are not looking. um, yeah, it's very strange, by the way, because and how you're going to recognize it, because you are going to say, like, if you were to comment, you're going to say, like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't get a lot of like interaction, or I don't get a lot of, let's say, feedback. That would be the case with this file, but the reality is not that. I feel like you're dealing with a group of people who are very to themselves. So that whole I'm not interested, or I don't mind, or I don't even like give you a lot of attention is not true. Is not an accurate reflection of what's actually happening. I wanna say you're quite a celebrity in here when it comes to discussions for some reason, because in here we have the Knave of Wands. And I don't think you are necessarily suspecting it, but um, you are someone's favorite subject. I don't know what's the case and what's happening in here. Could we please clarify what's going on with this favorite subject thing? Yeah, it's like a very strange case of people trying to like the quality of you being out there is very, let's say, I don't need anyone, very independent, very standalone type of person, very like unique and defined, and also very authoritative. But this group of people, they want to assimilate. They want to somehow assimilate, and you have a person who's specifically interested in making you one of their kind. That's very weird to say it, but the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So yeah, it's oh my god. Mm. Now this is a breaking point. This is like the first time that kind of explosive thing happens in a reading. I can't believe also that this is the case. You have, let's say, let's define and say the truth of it. People around you, the surroundings, they are very harsh. They are not very friendly. I don't see in here cups. We have like only several cards which are cups, but they're also not talking about this aspect. But we have the Five of Cups. People in their deepest, let's say, heart spaces, whatever the case may be, they are very attached to you, and this is very strange. The level of attachment with the Five of Cups, specifically from this deck, it's very deep, it's very ingrained, it's very, let's say, it's strange, okay? I'm not gonna lie. It's strangely linked to a sentiment, a feeling of you're going to be very missed. Very, very, like if you were to go away, they would miss you so, so much. Like you'd be replaceable. Like people would catch the feelings so, so, so easily. However, this is also the case where the amount of feelings people could get from you, and generally, like they're so private, you'd think that these people are either trying to play you, you'd think that these people are toxic, or you'd think, and you'd be very, very, like, let's say, valid in that judgment, because the display in here, it's terrible. It's I cannot even explain. You have in here some very sensitive and easily triggered people, and you stand by yourself. Like you stand in your power, you stand in your own, like you're not even doubting yourself. And this is very infuriating to these people, because they are used to placing judgments and expectations on everything. Like Tower, okay. Um there is a strong, like, as I was like in the beginning of the reading, I sensed this pull that was I was talking about, because in this tower representation, and especially this is a destruction card, so um discussions mentioning your name are about ways in which they could come closer, and yeah, it's like exploit, I don't know. The image in here shows a very, let's say, like the church being attracted by a lot of demons, and the light is only from that church. I feel like you are standing in a very, let's say, like, and how you'll recognize this is the case. You will feel like, let's say, like an island, like an on an island. This is the analogy that comes to mind. surrounded by a lot of questionable, let's say, people. This could be also work related, doesn't have to be, but this is like people you are surrounded by with, but you didn't choose it. That's the energy. I feel like it's the case. Also, a question arises in the reading saying, why are you so different? Why can't you just be like everyone else? Or why does it look like pile number 3? It's like trying to be different than us, 10 of wands. Um, don't ask me why I see this. That's the card. Maybe it's not the classical meaning, but yeah, people just see the boundaries. You also exert boundaries and they respect it very much. So, what's interesting about this pile also is the fact that you don't have as many like discussions. The ones I have mentioned are the case. However, you spark a lot of intrigue and you spark a lot of questions and not conversations but monologues. So, the contact, I wanted to say contact, context and contact, and yeah. The context for this pile is going to be the reactions that you trigger with people. And the reactions you trigger with people are very like core, deeply ingrained, like almost as if you create very powerful impressions or leave very powerful imprints on people. Okay. Someone discussed your quality of being your own boss and being unwavering in the quality of obedience. It's as if you're not going to be obedient or something like this. Yeah, something about you speaks royalty. Okay, so I'm not gonna be talking about royalty literally, but high expectations, high regard, high quality. Discussions mentioning your name were about the fact that people, when they came in contact with you, and this is also monologue, they started comparing themselves to you. They started looking at the ways in which you react and you deal with stuff, and they started questioning themselves. With the 10 of Wands also, this is strangely interesting because the impressions or the conversations that you're going to strike at first with people, they are not going to be carrying a very positive note. But hear me out, this is not a bad thing, because the process of assimilation, when it happens like in a group of people, if you are like everybody else, that means like you have no distinctive characteristic that would make you stand out, or you have no mind of your own. Well, in this case, the defined ways in which you have lived your life and crafted your own character, crafted your own logic of using your own free will, sparks a lot of conflict and self-conflict. Because of that amount of, like, this is very paradoxical. Like, it's such a paradox. The amount of negativity people ascribe to you, but then they flip it completely because they project it from their, like, first stage understanding. It's incredible. I want to say something about you is very like almost like an example of sorts. So it's like being very highly experienced, like a mastermind, but using it ethically again. So it's it sparks a lot of, like, also this was a very difficult to read pile, so it's almost as if it's very heavy energy. It's very conflictual. You bring people into some sort of fog and then you take them out of it. So it's like you could be someone who makes people end up with the consequences of their own behavior with a justice card, uh, but then you give them, like, you don't punish them, you just become very cold. But then when you see remorse, when you see a desire for change, you could explain, you could go into detail, you could go into some sort of I'll go easy on you. But I want to say it's a very noble work I sense in here. Is the case with pile number 3, because it was impossible to mention and to read the actual conversations, because there is something very magical and not from this world energy that's coming through, very like mysterious, very ethereal, very like non-earthly, okay? That's very intimidating to people, but they come to really, really like it as time passes, and it's very the star in reverse. It's like, don't expect kindness from people who were treated cruelly in the past a lot. And it's like you could mirror that energy back to them, because people are like this, when they come off from this low standpoint of suffering perpetuates suffering. So it's like you could have at some point mirror that energy. And I'm not saying like you were vengeful or whatever. Some of you could be, I'm not judging, because I can be like this as well. But I want to say the intricate logic for this pile is also being merciful. So it's you are not, for example, if someone crossed a boundary, that doesn't mean you are like cutting that person off immediately. You could become cold, because you cannot allow everything to be you cannot allow every behavior that's crossing your path to just be there, because that's not very, like, let's say, that's my opinion, but that's not very healthy. um you have to like understand that you spark a lot of a lot of questioning themselves, a lot of new thought, like new on edge thought. Okay, so it's like, should we really change? It's almost as if, for example, you could have had a person who was dealing with people in a very cruel way, or a very, let's say, cold way. They could have looked up to you, the ways in which you behaved, or you treated them like others as well, and they were like, oh my god, am I the bad person right now? Is that possible? Like, is it possible to right now behave in a different way? Because the pile number 3 gave us an example unwillingly, like indirectly. Should we, like, are we the bad guy? Should we really change the behavior? Like, you are a paradigm shifter type of person, in the sense that you give people different example, a different way to do things. It's almost as if you are specifically placed in people's lives to emulate for a time the same behavior that they were, not behavior, but the same tasks, the same responsibilities. And they are specifically given the chance to look at it and create some sort of conclusions. So pile number 3 could be even more efficient by just being a human being, being a kind human being, having greater results, having a more like fulfilling life, both with people and at the end of the day to themselves. And they're like, maybe we should really change, because the result of that behavior, like, I don't know, it's it's practically unbelievable what I'm saying, to be honest, but you do spark a lot of questions, and questioning themselves in the best of the ways. And this is not easy, by the way. This is very heavy energy, meaning that you are a mirror to a lot of people, and the discussions mentioning your name could be confusion oriented, okay? Spying on you, gathering information from you. At the end of the day, you have to understand that your presence, your participation in people's lives is very transformational. And I want to say it's very funny because it's transformational, because it's not forceful. Why it's funny? Because I usually see people like fighting for peace, fighting for resolution. This pile doesn't fight. This pile gives an example. Not only you give an example, but you embody that example, and you show, like, unfortunately that's the level, like, that's the level of people. They are result, efficiency, and productivity oriented. That's the low field, that's the low thing, consciousness that they can embody. Okay, so you look at it and say, okay, so we need to work with it. So you take that which they consider valuable, and you show that, yeah, you want to be successful, you can be, you want to be efficient, you want to have that, you can have that, but still be ethical about it, still remain a human being at the end of the day, and have it, and have even more of it, and be happy with yourself at the end of the day. Like, being able to sleep at night, I swear, I'm like, it's incredible how I was struggling to read for this, but I was like, am I doing something wrong? Okay, so it's like, when I was trying to extract and the lightness came back the moment I took a step back, because I was dipping in that energy of the people's discussions, and it was going low, like the lowest end. You have a connection to spirit, pile number 3. Nurture it like your life depends on it. Because I feel like this is what grabs you out of the whole dynamic paradigm. I feel like whatever it is that you nurtured, or the connection with that sort of element, pile number 3s are spiritual. I believe that because Enchanter, Enchanter, um, you can have qualities like this from the spiritual, like compassion, love, serenity, innocence, purity, goodwill. People could look at it and say, no, they are interested in something, they want something from us, and they behave like this, and it's all a facade. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's literally, again, the projection of what they, and people do it by default, unfortunately. Okay, I will go into something that I didn't do in the other readings. The reward for this, because it's very deep, like it's very dark. Okay, you have death in reverse, rebirth. Not at first, not the next day, not past a month, but you will have people who will look back and say, I became a better person because I was smart enough to listen to pile number 3. I became a better person, and I simplified my life because I was a bit foolish and I didn't listen. I changed my life because pile number 3 participated in it. Okay? Yeah, that's gonna be the, like, kind of the reward of sorts, Yeah, you will have, like, trust me, like, remember my words. You'll be having people reaching out to you from the past, and you'd be like, what? What do you mean? Like, you're going to be like, um, I just did my job. I was just in a good mood. I was just generous. Like, I was like, and they would be like confessing or something. Mark my words, people are going to reach out to you, especially if you had issues and instances where it was unbearable. Like, it was very, very unbearable, pestering, negative, when you came with very pure intentions. Yeah, trust me. Like, with Death in Reverse and Four of Swords, you're going to even, like, not gonna lie, you could have even people showing up at your door saying that they are really grateful that they've had you in their life, and especially those you've helped, they're going to be, like, very, like, grateful. Yeah, it's like, can't believe I'm reading this, but this is literally the case. And this is going to be also people with the Five of Pentacles who are going to be like, I'm no longer broke because of you. Like, you changed my mind, and I changed my mind relative to finance. Somehow I did. Or people like not not creating even more karma for them, and you're like, just did my duty as being a human being, and maybe you should do it too. Not in a bad way, but I know this might sound a bit cruel, but you give people an example of what's possible, and life, like living a decent life, a successful life, a fulfilling life, can be the case while still remaining human, while still remaining very, like, grounded in a sense of being, oh my god, innocent. Very, like, not like, you just have to see it, especially with that Five of Cups energy, like the ways in which you leave imprints on people's hearts. No, they won't admit it. Like, why would we admit it? But trust me when I say you'll have some confessions that you're going to be like, what? What's that? When where did that come from? Like, the question is going to be like, just they just lived. I just lived a day in my life. Nothing specific. Like, I wasn't. You're going to be caught off guard. Pile number three. Okay, that was all. That was very intense. To be honest, I was so questioning myself. Like, you'll see that at the mark of the 15, 14, 13 minutes, I was like in the reading, what's going on? I don't know how to read these cards. Now it's taking other card, the other card. I have no idea. Like, and the moment I took the step back, I immediately understood. My God, I was reading the discussions and they were very dry. They were very like on their level. No, not gonna. It was very limited. I'm more used to expansive energy. I'm used to more kind, more like compassionate. In the cases I reviewed there, it was despair. It was I can't change. Everything and everyone is to blame. That's the energy I was like in, and reading the cards I was like, oh, what am I supposed to give to pile number three as like a good message? Because I'm trying my best to do that, like not gonna channel the negativity. Okay, so that was all. That was very intense. That took it all on me. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment below that you're pile number three, for me to understand that you withstood that journey of 36 minutes. Comment, subscribe if you're not already, and make sure to check out my old videos as well. I have some very fascinating comments. Like, if you wanna test the quality, go for the comments. Like, uh, not before you like basically choose the pile. You choose the pile, then go for the comments, and yeah, you're gonna see there, like, it's fascinating what people write and very beautiful. Consider donating for the channel if you want. If not, that's completely fine. And I really hope to see you in the future readings. Take care.